week today. I hope you've had a productive week or two or three since the last time you've seen me. So I've been thinking about you all and missing you all as I have been, traveling around a little bit. I feel like I'm finally getting home from a little bit of a whirlwind of being all around the country. So I spent a week in Arizona and a week and a half in Michigan in July. And so we're finally getting back around. And this fabulous friend is a type of leaf beetle. So it's in the family Chrysomelidae. Let me grab my text specs here. Alright, so it's in the family Chrysomelidae, but I do have a species level identification for our friend here. This is a species of leaf beetle that is primarily found in Central America. But you can find it up through Mexico and then in the Sky Islands or up in the mountains in southern Arizona. So there are areas in Arizona like the Madera Canyon and a variety of other canyons that kind of funnel tropical insects up into the United States. So Tucson and south, around in the Coronado National Forest, those are the only places in the United States that you can find this beetle. The species is... I can hear you drum roll from here. It is called Megalostomus. Yeah, pyropyga. And... no, come back. It wants to be either very big or very small. There we go. That works for me. Alright, so Megalostomus and then pyropyga. I'm not sure. Does anyone know their Latin or Greek and what pyga means? Or pyga? My guess is it means shoulders. Hi, Hashi! Hi, Marley, Susan. Oh, I'm so glad that everybody is here to hang out and chat bugs. Means buttocks. Alright, I don't know. As it turns out, pyga, because I was looking, megalo makes sense because it means large, and stomus means mouth. And when you're looking at this beetle, especially from, let's go ahead and turn this camera off right now. If you're looking at this beetle, not from the top, but especially from the side, from the lateral side, generally, leaf beetles don't have like a really long, extended face. And this guy, if we look at him from the side, we'll be able to turn him, I think, even further. But you can see his face is kind of really, really long, and then his mouth parts are small right there on the bottom of his mouth. Let's see. Terry... right down here, that's where his chewing mouth parts are gonna be. And so you can see that that's gonna be his mouth. So Megalostomus makes sense to me because he has this huge area. Pyro, obviously meaning fire. I just looked up the Latin root of pyga, and it all comes back to butts. So I guess pyga means buttocks, but I don't know exactly what pyropyga would mean on this specimen unless we were talking about the fact that on the very end, of its elytra, there are little bits of kind of red circles right here. That might be what they mean. I wonder if I can Sometimes iridescence is also a little interesting to get to shine right under a microscope. Let me, oh, there I go a little bit. That's a little bit better. So down here, you can see it like iridesces red a little bit here and here. And that might be what they mean by pyropyga, which is really funny. I'm going to see if that kind of helps. No. Fiery buns. Yes, Hashi, that's what I'm saying. Saying she's got some fiery buns. Some flame decals in the bat. I mean, it flies very quickly. So that doesn't surprise me. Oh, I will try not to. Yes. Show. Yep. Marley, I'm sorry, your largemouth pyro buttocks got flagged, so I had to approve it. But yes, that is exactly what this species name means. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and leave my specimen up dorsally so that we can get some good looks at it and so that we can get some sketching in. I'm going to zoom out all the way because that is the way that I can go ahead and give you guys a measurement for your journals. I know a lot of us like to put measurements in. So, let's see, we're going to do it in centimeters from the front of the head to the back of the abdomen. You are looking at approximately 1.01 centimeters. So honestly, I would call him 1 centimeter long. Marley, you're good. Yep, you got flagged, but we were able to save it. Alright, so I wanted to make sure I got all of the first messages. Michigan was awesome. I went to... Oh, I have something to share with you guys. I was blacklighting in Michigan at my parents' house, and I was excited about the number of underwing moths that were coming into the house, or that were coming into the lights, but then big underwing moths started coming in. And then I got all excited, and I started collecting underwing moths, large and small. And I haven't gone ahead and spread them and pinned them yet, but I think it would be fun to spread all of my underwing moths during one session. I think that there's like 13 of them or something, so there's going to be a lot of them. It might end up being more than one session, but underwings are so beautiful because I got them with red underwings and yellow and orange, and I think I even got one or two that are like metallic, like a super bright pink underwing, and so I was pretty excited about that. So that's a little story from Michigan. I do not believe that I have a Trogus species. That's an ichneummonid. I do have a variety of ichneumon species, but no Trogus just yet. And I think that that is all caught up. Hi, Akshay! Oh, I said underwing moths. So earlier, sorry Miley, I went backwards just a little bit. Earlier, Susan had asked if I had any Trogus species, and that's an ichneumon wasp. Or it's a genus of ichneumon wasp that I don't have just yet. Alright. So, we're gonna go ahead. Oh, bonus, it's been a while since I've live streamed with you, but it's also been a while since I have gone ahead and spent time sketching. So, we'll see how this all goes. I've also started a full-time, position at a local nature center. And I've been creating educational programs there, so that has been fun too. So I've got Megalostomus pyropyga. And let's see, I might even... might even raise my notebook a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. All right, so we've got 1 centimeter. I'm hoping that I have kind of left our specimen here long enough that you've gotten kind of the rough outline taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and sketch mine really fast. I do like to start from the top up here at the head and work my way back. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Akshay. I really appreciate it. It's been fun, but it's been keeping me pretty busy. I'll admit, I'm a little bit tired. I've been, it's the last week in camp, so I've been running around with the little kiddos. Alright, so I'm going ahead and giving my overall kind of rough sketch of the body parts, just to make sure I leave space for, just to make space that I leave space for everything, I guess. For the legs and the back, and I'm going to try and sketch just a little bit lighter than I did here, but that's fine. Alright, so I've got my overall head shape, but I don't have my good eraser. That's fine. Moving back from the head, this segment here, we've got this one, and that's what we call the pronotum. I'm just going to go ahead and write the words up here. The pronotum is that first segment of the thorax. It sometimes is expanded into a shield in some insects. In our leaf beetles, it's not super expanded up over the head, but it is of good size. It's kind of this rounded pyramid shape. And, fun story, I took a picture of the environment that this beetle was collected in, and it's my background today. So, this is a picture that I took of the environment that I collected this beetle in. So that's kind of cool. And if you see right about here, it's pretty small and it wraps around the hill, but that's the trail I was walking. I hiked about 2 miles through the desert and went collecting and looking for bugs. Cool, now we can sketch the landscape too. Yeah, go ahead and sketch the landscape too. And if you want, I can also add, I kind of cropped the top off with all of the clouds and the bottom off with the rest of the grass. It's kind of a really tall picture. I picked the best part though. Trisha Duck! Alright, give me a minute. I'll disappear for you guys. I promise I'm still here. You can hear me, but you can't see me. My hand is here, though. So this is our pronotum right here. And then if we move down, we're going to be looking at, there's this little kind of D, I guess, D shape that's pointing down. That's the scutellum. It sits in between those wings. And so it's right about here. Super light, because I'm going to be going over this again in more detail when we zoom in. And check out all of the really cool structures and textures. Alright, and then our elytra, or these wings, they're going to have a little bit of shoulders. They come out just a little bit, and we're going to come down and round it out. Alright, and then from the very center of the D, which should also be the very center of the body, right? Insects are going to be symmetrical. You can go ahead and kind of sketch in that vertical line. That's the separation between the left side and the right side of the elytra. Now, I think it's going to be a great time to kind of sketch these legs. So I'm going to go ahead and build myself some stick legs really quick. Just some really light. We know that insect legs are mostly 3-segmented. So 1, 2, and 3. And then continuing on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So those are going to be kind of the shape of my legs. That'll help me out when we're getting closer to being done. And I think I'm going to leave my antennal segments alone. And as you know, I like to talk so much that I don't get both sets of legs taken care of. So we're just going to leave it like that. I hope that everyone is... I hope everyone's ready to go ahead and zoom in, and I think I'm going to come back. All right. Did I leave you guys enough time for the landscape? Thanks, Ashi. Oh no, where'd our specimen go? So here's something interesting that I'm noticing from this, and that is that our head, there's a word for this. I think it's called hypognathes. Let me Google that and make sure I have the right word. Yeah, so our head is what we're going to call hypognathes. So instead of some insect heads kind of point out, and their mouth parts point forwards, right? We call that prognathes. But this guy we consider hypognathes, meaning that his mouth parts are actually pointing down, so we're not able to see his mouth from his dorsal side, and that's why his head looked so short from the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and sketch that on my paper, but then I want to turn the specimen so that you can see him head on, because that is going to be a much more fun angle. And I'm also going to grab an eraser, a better one. Don't mind the screen magic. Marker. I can move the earth. All right. So one fun thing that I like to talk about when we are discussing insects with this type of iridescence is the fact that these beetles are, yes, they're iridescent, but what's really cool about them is that they are never going to lose their iridescence. And if you've been hanging out here for a while, you will probably have heard me say this before, because their color structure is not a pigmented color, but a structural color. So it's never going to fade. If I have this specimen for 100 years, or if this specimen lasts for 100 years, it will still be as brightly colored in 100 years as it is today. And that's because it's structural, so that coloration doesn't fade. What we can see from the top is that, well, first of all, the head is this metallic blue color, and these right here, this little silver piece here and this little silver piece here, those are the compound eyes. So that's what I was going ahead and giving kind of little flat pancakes here on the side of his head for, because they are not really visible from the top. They're kind of these little, like, slices, but I want to make sure that people know that this guy does have fairly decent-sized compound eyes. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn our specimen so that we can see it from the front, because he's so cute and he needs to be seen. So he has something on his face. It looks like a piece of sand from the desert that he took with us. So I think that his head is pretty spectacular, especially for these jaws. This species of Chrysomelid, this species of leaf beetle, is actually a case bearer. So when they are in grub form, they build themselves a little case that they carry around and hide in. Yes, the face is very similar to tiger beetles. They have those really large, sharp mandibles. And if I go ahead and zoom in here up at the front, they are also very sharp. Let's see. I wonder if I can get... Yeah. So they're kind of deeper mandibles, so they're harder to kind of show the depth. But as I'm focusing up and down, you can kind of see that they've got all of those sharp points, both on the top and the bottom. So their teeth are kind of like this when they chew, which is why instead of seeing a bunch like this, that would be kind of easier to sketch, they're kind of enwrapped in each other, and they chew this way. And they're not predatory, right? They're going to be feeding on plants. So my guess, I didn't read anything about their host plants, but my guess is that they're feeding on one of the species of cacti out there that's going to be kind of a harder substance, or something that's kind of harder to chew, because they have all those really strong mandibles. Oh, Akshay, it does have antenna. So, if I turn this face to the side, he's kind of tucked back on that side. Let me see what it looks like on the other side. That's better. All right, so we are looking at the antenna. Yeah, you're tripping. Yeah, I kind of love it though. I'm sorry for all of you guys out there who are, actively coloring this specimen, because I know it's changing colors as you are coloring it. Because it is so beautiful and iridescent. Like these greens and blues and purples up here in the head, I can't wrap my mind around. But if we are looking right about here, this is that antenna that Akshay was looking for. Yeah. So this is the compound eye right here. It goes from about here at the top to down here in the bottom. And the compound eyes and the antennal socket is right up there in the front, in front of the eye, kind of in the middle of it. And then this is going to be that first second of the antennal segment, and then all the way through to the flagellum, which are these pieces right here. I did not Photoshop my beautiful beetle. I was so excited to share it with you guys that I will have to promise you a tarantula hawk next week, because that was one of the other options, but it's so pretty. And I was a little tired, so tarantula hawk I want to do when I'm well rested. Let's see. I love that. Alright, so look at the legs! Did you guys see that the legs are metallic copper? I didn't notice that before. Give me a minute, I have to refocus. No, friend. Look at how pretty the metallic copper is on its toes. Those are its tarsal segments. All right. We need to get back to the sketching of the dorsal. I think it's earning its name now. Megalostomus pyropygia. It's earned its name. Yes, I can try to catch that metallic on the antenna, because I do believe that is the case. Maybe if I zoom out a little bit. There you go, that's closing in. It's funny because you just have to touch the specimen just a little bit and it moves so far. Alright. Does that work for the metallic on the antenna? The closer I zoom in, the less light you have. So something like a smaller antenna is just a little bit more difficult for the lighting situation. But I think right about there you can kind of see this metallic green and the metallic blue. Yeah, so the eyes from the front are kind of like a kidney-shaped eye. A lot of times when things are kidney-shaped, we call them reniform. And that's because their eyes would have been full circular compound eyes, but they have notches up in the front where their antennal sockets are. The next one will be easier, Marley, I promise. I feel like from the top, it's not horrible. Yes, that's a close spelling. Akshay, reniform is spelled this way. Reniform. All right. So if I zoom in, I'm going to go ahead and check out the pronotum. I think we've got a good look at the head, what's happening there, at the mandibles and the antenna and the eyes. So I think that will be, I think that we've pretty much got the head covered. The pronotum is this next segment, and it's mostly metallic green on the base, but then up here around the head, there's a little bit of that metallic yellow and then up into red. It doesn't matter from what direction you look at that from. Those are kind of its coloration. So there is a structural change in the crystalline. There's a crystalline structural change there. The other thing that we notice when we zoom a little bit further in is that we have little punctations. You can see there are these little dots all over the top of the pronotum. And we also have these punctations on the elytra. So that's what we call little dots in the exoskeleton. We call them punctations. And I remember that because it almost looks like a little puncture wound. But they're all over the place. Yeah, little punks. So you can see all those little guys. Don't ban all shiny beetles. That would make a sad, sad world. All right. The top, I need to get back to my sketch. I haven't, I'm sure you guys have been doing all the sketching of the head and stuff. I am still down here on my pronotal section. So, the other thing that is pretty distinct is this ridge, and I believe this ridge goes all the way around the outside of the pronotum. It's just that the pronotum is at a couple of different focus levels, so you can't see it all in focus at one time. But you can see that ridge coming around the corner here. So if you wanted to, you could run another darker line around your edge to show that. And so as I am drawing my pronotum, I'm going to go ahead and kind of re-sketch some of these edges to make sure that they've got all of the details I want, but I sketched it dark enough, unfortunately, that I'll still be able to see that, so that's fine. Our head is kind of tucked into the pronotum a little bit, so I wanted this arch to come just a little bit. I wanted my arch to be a little stronger up here so that it really looks like my head could tuck into the pronotum. And then I'm going to pull it around, and you can see it kind of has this, this rounded shape at the bottom that I wanted to add. So we're going to kind of, this is an arch, and these are two kind of parentheses, and then we'll make this shape down here, and we will have our pronotum. So we'll go ahead and give it parenthesis 1, parenthesis 2, and then, that U shape comes down and will meet our scutellum down here, that D-shaped piece. And so if it's going to run into the scutellum, go ahead and erase it, and we'll resketch it in a minute. Sometimes my specimen moves down, you know, a quarter of an inch or something as I'm sketching it. You wouldn't think sketches move, but they do. I think something funny happened on the paper there. It's not doing well. That's fine. Alrighty, and then we are going to go ahead, the fly arrow! The fly's name is Terry. Hi, Terry. He likes to carry my arrow around and help us point out things. Random question, did you miss the ocelli? No, Avea, you did not miss the ocelli. This beetle does not have ocelli. Alright, good question. Alright, have that as a license plate sticker. Or even a license plate sticker that says, like, may stop for bugs, you know? Because there's definitely been times where I pulled over on the highway because I wanted to go and see what type of bug was on it. And that there have been times where when I stopped, it was something awesome. And then I was so glad I stopped. Like, I was able to take a picture of a mating pair of lubber grasshoppers. Because they were so big, I saw them going 55 miles an hour. So that is exciting. All right. All right, so we are looking at the elytra. Another fun scientific word. I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but elytron is the singular version, and then plural are elytra. All right, so you can say this one elytron or the elytra have. All right. A lot of times you only see the word elytra because generally they're only talked about in pairs. You're never really talking about the left one or the right one because in insects they're symmetrical. So they should be the same and therefore they're talked about in the same manner. But it's a fun tidbit to know just in case you wanted to throw it into a sentence. Yes! Thank you! Oh, Akshay, good night. Have a wonderful night. I hope you had fun. I was happy to see you here. Alright, so I left a little bit of dark space in between my pronotum and my scutellum because it looks like there's just a little bit of space there, so I'm just going to darken it out. We do have, in true bugs, I would call these humeral angles. I don't know if you would call them that in leaf beetles, but they're the shoulders. So we do have some decent shoulders here coming off of the pronotum. Sorry, I forgot to give my outline to my pronotum, so I wanted to get that. And some of those punctations, they'll be really light, but that is alright. Perfect. Alright. And then I'm going to go in and give us our shoulders. And the sides of the elytra are pretty straight, so those should be alright to sketch. And then coming on down, the elytra at the very end are pretty flat. They don't have any really sharp points to them. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these lines and give us some final lines in here. And then straight from the middle of the scutellum all the way to the end of the elytra. And we have a beetle body. We have those punctations that are linear on the elytra. So those ones go in lines all the way down the back. And obviously you have those color changes, right? So right about in here, you have it going from that red color back into metallic blue-green. So right about here is where it switches over. And then you also have the pyropygia part. You have its hind end decals. So if you go right through here with red and then pull it up just a little bit and you give these little patches at the end of the elytra, that's what they're talking about, I believe. I love it. I love it so much. All right. All right, so that is, I think we are doing good there. Good, 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 good. All right, so I think we have gotten the body part taken care of. I believe I'm actually going to be able to do the antenna. It's going to be right about this size, so it'll be in line with our first pair of legs, and that will be good. And we've got these 3 legs to take care of. The fun thing about leaf beetle tarsals, the fun thing about leaf beetle tarsal segments is that the bottom of their toes, the bottom of their tarsi, are fluffy. They have lots of like long hairs on the bottom of their feet. They're kind of like toe pads. He's so fluffy from his lateral side. Alright, so our beetle's femur is going from right about here and is coming up to here. The tibia comes from here down to about here. And then the tarsal segments come out in this direction. So we've got 1, 2, and I believe 3, maybe 4. Yeah, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 tarsal segments. So, leaf beetles are one of those, I wanted to double check. Leaf beetles are one of those species that have an apparently 444 tarsal formula, but actually 555. So it does have a little tarsal segment in here that we can't see. And so that's why we call it apparently 444. I'll go ahead and show you how we sketch that. So I think for me, I might want, no, that's fine. I was thinking I might want my femur at a stronger angle, but if I do, I think it'll end up interacting with the antenna. So we're just going to leave it like this. I'm going to pull my femur out, round it off a little bit, and maybe give it some of those longer hairs that you can see along its body. And then this tarsal this tibial is from here to about here. I'm trying to make it, it's not really easy to get super well focused. Reminds you of the sewing patterns. Yes. You know, there's a beetle that has the common name patent leather beetle because the beetle reminded a person of that. And so that's funny. There are beetles that are actually named for that characteristic. It's fairly common for beetles, like, you know, it's one of those characteristics that you see regularly if you are looking really closely at beetle elytra in many, many different families. And then Cupidity has, instead of having punctations, they have squares along their back. And that's actually really cool because that's, you know, just slightly different. All right. I'm going to pull my tibia in, kind of actually 555 tarsal formula, you're going to be sketching, yeah. Let me go ahead and zoom in, make sure I've got this right. Look at how fluffy its feet are, by the way. Like, look at all of those hair tufts on the bottom of its tarsal segments. All right. All right, so I've been focusing kind of up and down because it's not something that's on a single plane. So we've got 2 segments that are rectangular. This third segment, if we're looking at it from the top, actually is kind of split. It looks like this. There's a 4th segment that we can't see. It's little itty bitty, and it's in between those two pieces here. And then the 5th segment is this one that has the claws on the end of it. So let me go ahead and sketch that so that you can see what I am talking about. I might be going up into the words, but that'll be okay. So we've got one kind of rectangular segment, another rectangular segment, and then this segment kind of, it comes out like this, kind of like a Y. You've got an itty bitty little segment right there in the center of the Y that a lot of times people can't see, and that's why we don't consider it when we're doing keys. And then you've got a larger segment that has the claws on the end of it. And so that's going to be what generally our tarsal formula is going to look like when we say that it's apparently 444 but actually 555, because it looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4 segments, but it actually has 5. All right, let's go ahead. I think that if I just zoom and focus down a little bit, we will see the middle leg, because it's kind of been back there distracting me. It's right here. It's going to have very similar features to the front leg. Does that Y serve as extra toes for gripping onto leaves? So the Y does not have the ability to bend or move, so it doesn't have the ability to kind of wrap around, but I would definitely say kind of, if you are watching this beetle walk, the first segment, well, I guess this Y segment is the last segment that is like, oh, let's do it like this. The Y segment is the one that's the last segment that's completely flat on the ground, and then that next segment kind of arches up through those and then down and grasps onto the leaf. So I think it has something both to do with, you know, having a stronger structural base to walk on, but then also all of those hairs on the bottom increase friction and do help them hold on to the leaf. So yes, I also would think that having a base like this would give you a better hook to hook on with your tarsal segments too. In case of windstorms, for instance. Oh, Ivea, humoral angles. Funny, humorous. I just got that. Oh. Good one. Oh. You know, I think it's because they're... So this is funny because it's kind of like shoulders, but isn't our humerus the funny bone? down here. So I don't know why we call these the humeral angles, or the shoulders the humeral angles. All right, and then our hind leg, scooch, scooch. I might actually be able to readjust our specimen, hopefully. Maybe I'll just flip it completely upside down. Ouch. That's better. Alright, so this is what the abdomen, the bottom side of the abdomen of our beetle looks like. This is the femur for our hind leg. This is our tibia, and these are our tarsal segments. And this is that little Y from the bottom. So I think that this is a really cool thing to show you, because I was mentioning the bottom of the tarsal segments have these kind of toe pads. And you can see that those are significantly more thick and more pronounced than, let's say, the hairs that are down here on our abdominal segments. You see those are kind of more light. These guys, they're around for business. It ends at the elbow. So I wonder if the humerus starts at the shoulder and goes to the elbow, then that would make sense, because that would be up in this region for sure. Thank you. We've got the femur, we have a tibia, and then we're going to have a tarsal segment, two tarsal segments that are square, one that is that wide kind of Y shape, that one that's kind of hidden, teardrop one with the two little claws at the end. I need to sketch the antenna still, and I know that you guys already did, so I'm thinking that maybe if I look at it from the bottom, you'll have something else that you will find interesting and would like to sketch also. Oh, look at the bottom of his mouth. Let's see. Oh, ha! I'm looking alone. Give me a minute. Oh, where would I say the abdomen starts? Good question. I will show you. So, from the bottom side, we can clearly see when the abdomen starts. From the top side, you can't see very well because you've got that elytra in the way. All of the legs are connected to the thorax. So it's the segment after the hind legs. The pin's dragging a little bit, so I'm gonna move it around a little bit. All right, so there's a suture right here. A suture is a separation between like pieces or plates in the exoskeleton. So this is the end of what we would consider the metasternum. Meta meaning third, and sternum meaning like one of the chest pieces. All of the thoracic, the bottom thoracic segments are sternum. That's prosternum, mesosternum, and metasternum. And then after that, you've got the abdomen starting about here and moving down. So you've got one segment. That might be one big first abdominal segment. Sometimes they've got one hidden up there. Nope, it's all one. So this plate right here is all one, the first abdominal segment. And then the second one would be this one. So it would be 2, 3, 4. Yes, and then there is a fifth segment down here, and it looks kind of triangular shaped. It's right about here. So that's about our abdomens. Yeah, sometimes the long coxy have the ability to trick us. Very good, Hashi. So, in this case, our coxal plates are up in this region. I think they're right about here. Not exactly sure. Look at how fluffy. All right, let's go and look at some. We're going to look at some toe pads, and then we'll go back and check out the antenna, because there are some of you guys who agree. But I just wanted to share with you the fluff that is the bottom of the first leg and second leg tarsal segments. And that's a better look at the tarsal segments anyway, so I wanted to give you a chance. This is what they look like from the bottom. Oh, I'm sorry, Ivea. Am I going too fast? I should slow down a little bit. I know I say that regularly. Okay, good. Do the hair colors remind anyone else of a little sheen of iron sand? Iron sand. Oh, like that red color? Definitely that middle leg. Definitely the one down here reminds me of kind of irony. This one, I'm surprised, is very white. And that's not a play on the light. The coloration of that hair, the coloration of the hair on the first leg is a lot lighter than the yellow one. Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Oh, magnetic sand. Oh, like the texture of magnetic sand? I could see that. Because it also has like all of those punctations, all of those like little dots all over, and the make it look very sand-like sometimes. Black and metallic. Yeah. Black and like trying to be metallic green or maybe metallic blue. I think that its better side for the antenna was the right side. So I'm going to start with its antennal segments focused up in the front, and then as I finish them, we can move backwards and yell something if you need another minute. Look at how fun the eyes are. Okay. interesting. If you look into beetles and metals, there are all types of papers where beetles will actually use, like, cover their mandibles in different metals that will help them chew on wood better or dig into the substrate that they're digging into. So there are some beetles who actually do use metal as a part of their exoskeleton. I can't tell you... It's a lot of the wood borers. I think, like, the longhorn beetles, but I'd have to look into it to give you a lot more information. I think that it's just really cool to think about beetles with, like, metal-tipped mandibles, just, like, chowing into wood. Alright, so coming out here, we have our first segment connected to the eye socket. As you know, we're zoomed in a little bit, so I'm going to keep this kind of small. Alright, so we've got the first segment. The second segment's actually going to be very itty-bitty tiny and kind of circular right here at the base. We have words for those. My brain is a little bit fried, so I'm not going to remember them. So we have the first and second segments of the antenna, but then the rest of them are considered the flagellum. And so you can see, starting about here, these are triangular pieces that are all connected kind of evenly on one side, but edged on the other side. And I believe we would call these serrate antenna. I would definitely call these serrate antenna because they are kind of combed or knife-like on one side and then even on the other side. So trying to get that across is going to be important. And the knife part, or where there are combs, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like 7, 8. And 7 and 8 are more like a club than a comb. Yes, like a pennant, the little triangular flags that you kind of hang around your room. That's a good analogy. And is probably something that you're used to sketching if you're used to kind of doodling designs in journals. So reimagine the antenna. The serrate section would be going towards the center of its body. So the serrations are going this way. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Those are too small. Those are too big. You can't win them all. Let me see. I want them to go from here to about here. So I'm going to start from the end. So the last 3 are these kind of club. But then the other... It's really 6, isn't it? Yeah, the other 6 are these pennants. My hand is getting tired. It says, no, we refuse. We're gonna call it great. We're also only gonna do one side, because if I do ever decide to scan that, I will probably be resketching those antennae. Alright, so we had a little bit more time with the antenna. I hope you guys had better luck with the antenna than I did. Let's see. We got our Beetle taken care of. I got some stories built in. I do have a question for you. I was thinking... So I have so many underwing moths to spread, and I'm excited about opening them up and seeing them with people. And I was wondering if, instead of setting up a separate time to do my pinning and spreading of those moths, if you guys think it would be okay if I did a pinning and spreading session on Sunday. Oh, let me go ahead and... Alright, so, I think that we are mostly good. Hi. Alright, I want to say thank you to all of you who are here, who support me, who help me do what I do. I am still teaching on OutSchool. It is, only after business hours nowadays, but I still do teach, and I still have classes on the weekends for kids 5 to 8, 9 to 12. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already. I know a lot of you are, but maybe there's a new person or two out there who would like to subscribe and join us for all of our crazy bug fun. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. If I was spreading moths and talking about their colors, if I was sketching moths and doing that, I feel like you could also nature journal about them. It would just not be sketching along with me. I would be pinning and you guys could sketch. You went on a rabbit hole with colors. Ooh, I wonder. I would love to see some of that. My sketch is all right. I can tell that I haven't sketched for a couple of weeks, but I will get back into that. I will get back into the swing of things. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go ahead and post my sketch onto the Facebook page, and you guys can share your sketches too, if you would like. That could be a really kind of cool little post. And I'd love to see the way that you dove into colors, because I love to see how everybody kind of uses and works with them. I'd like to learn. I'd definitely like to learn one day. I've got some colored pencils that I've been playing with, but I'm not good enough yet to do it live. Oh, very cool. Thank you, Marley, for sharing for sharing about insect illustration. Really, I think that these types of things, the best way to help them grow is by word of mouth. So if you have friends who like bugs or like to draw, or you just want to hang out with them more, invite them here and chat with them and sketch bugs together. That's the best. Oh no, Susan, you lost the shape. Yeah, it's not about the pretty picture. That's true. That's true. It's more about getting the details right, and I was able to get a lot of that stuff right. So you're right. I should post it without fear. Iridescence. And moth pinning sounds fun. All right, so that'll be good for everybody. We'll have a little bit of a change of pace. That'll be Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I think for a lot of you guys in California, that's 1 p.m. It's kind of in the middle of the day, but it's also a little bit better for our European friends. So sometimes we have people joining us from there. All right, Hashi, thank you for joining us this time, and have fun on your travels. That will be great. I will see you in October. I spent most of July traveling, so I get that. And then a little bit of August. So, I understand that. And Kate, you know, when I was first doing this too, I was always going off the page. I have a really funny water scorpion that's half drawn and it runs into the end and then it continues from the other side because I just put it in this weird spot. So that's why when I first start sketching now, I'll do a very light outline just to see like where it's going to sit on the page so that I know if I have to move it up or down. But the other thing is that when I zoom in, sometimes the scale in my head goes wacky, so I'll zoom in and then the head will get really big, and then the whole body gets bigger, and then I run out of space. So that sometimes happens too. Let's see. What's the range on this beetle? Is it possible that Marley would see one in Ecuador? That is a really great question. Let me check and see if it is something that would be commonly seen in Ecuador. Ecuador should be right here. Oh, there it is. I think Ecuador is a little too far south for this guy. It's mostly found in Central America, so you find it down through Honduras and up into the very, very southern piece of Arizona. So Mexico is most of its range, then like Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. My guess is you can also find it in some places in Nicaragua, but that doesn't have that as part of its distribution. Body parts everywhere. I love that, Susan. Sometimes I feel like that's what I want to do sometimes, is instead of just sketching the one big insect, I kind of want to just start sketching, like zooming in and sketching all the little pieces. But I never feel like I have time to go back and do that, you know? So maybe one of these days I'll try something drastically different and only do a very light little sketch of the whole bug and then do like zoomed up images of my favorite parts. I think that could be cool. Frankenbug. Alright. Oh, Hashi, you're going to be in Australia. You're going to have to send us bug pictures. That's going to be important. That would be so much fun. Only got a few longhorn beetles so far, Marley? I have so many longhorn beetles in my collection. I have so many. They're probably the most numerous family that I've collected. But now I don't know if that's going to be arguable anymore because I collected so many underwings. I might have more noctuids nowadays. Ooh, a very large, very fast, quote, unquote, huntsman spider. Susan, I'm not sure exactly where you are located. Huntsman spider is pretty good guess. I would also look up a fishing spider, because fishing spiders are also very large and very fast. And they are also very common. So I would go ahead and look up both of those. All right, I've got to run too. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, having a great one. If you are feeling super awesome and nice, you can feel free to scan that QR code. It'll take you to my PayPal account where you can help support Insectopia and help me to continue to do this and share my love of bugs with the world. It definitely helps keep me doing this. And at Insectopia 2015 is my tag on both Facebook and Instagram. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Insectopia, so 2015 is the year that I first started posting YouTube videos. So that would be what that. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see some of you on Sunday, and hopefully many of you next week on Thursday for our tarantula hawk. We're going to do a Pepsis next week. I can even take it off the board that day if you'd like. All right, so thank you so much. Have a wonderful one, and stay buggy.